Well, another day, another coronavirus lockdown scenario. Bit overcast. Had an eventful day yesterday. Besides the coronavirus, I had my new leather couch delivered. It's funny, I was expecting it the day before. It might have been a misunderstanding with communication, but I don't know. I also said that they were going to bring an extra person along to carry the thing upstairs, and they weren't there. So this guy, it's funny, you know, it was a husband and wife team who delivered the actual couch, and it's funny. I took an instant dislike to the husband. He's a short guy, fairly old, I would say, probably in his 70s, and the first thing is he basically shanghaied a neighbour of mine into helping us get the couch upstairs, and I thought that was pretty rude of him. He doesn't even know this person, he doesn't even live here, and it's only because he didn't bring someone along who I was told was coming that he had to do it. So that was pretty poor. Then I looked at the couch and I wasn't overly impressed because it had some little specks all over it and a couple of what looked like marks. I was probably overreacting, but that probably pissed him off. So I don't think the two of us are any great buddies. And then I ended up having to do the heavy lifting, taking the couch. Luckily it was a light couch, but it's awkward shape, of course. It's a two-seater, so it's not huge. But I did the heavy lifting, taking it up the stairs, and nearly killed me. It's a family downstairs. They seem okay. He was actually, he's a young guy, fairly tall, and he actually offered to give me some relief because he could see I was struggling, especially at the second rung of stairs. And we swapped places, and I took the rear and he took the lead, and that helped me a lot because I was really struggling. And because I've got respiratory issues, and I'm not in a position to do heavy lifting at the moment. It's just not something So that was good, but this other, the husband, he just did the supervising. So he's a lot of use he was. He just basically designated himself as the person directing everybody. So I thought he was a bit of a puns, to be quite frank. So his wife was quite nice. I had no problem with her. Once I got the couch upstairs, of course the guy was keen to get the money. But the wife was fine, and she actually took out some solution and put it on the actual couch, on the leather, some sort of a restorative cream or something. She put that on, and it actually looked all right once it was in my flat. It looks fine. So she also said that I could probably get the salvos to actually take the other couches, and that'd be brilliant if they'd pick the damn things up, because you know, otherwise I'd have to pay to get the things taken to the dumpster. So hopefully I can do that. I can only ask anyway. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, they finally got the bloody couch in there, and it's okay. It's not the nicest leather, but apparently it is leather. I wasn't even sure whether it was leather when I first saw it. That was the other thing I questioned. So I probably got that guy's backup as well. So it was just one of those situations, but thank God it's over and it's up there. And I did actually sit on it, and it seems like it's reasonably firm, so it doesn't sag, so that's good. You can't take the actual cushions off though. They're not removable. Yeah, they're part of the actual seat, so I don't know if there's a problem with the cushion. You can't just pull it off and get it replaced, for instance. So that's such a great design. So, but I won't be putting it through that much. But it is quite comfortable to watch TV on. So yeah, it worked out okay. Now I won't talk about toilet paper today. We'll pass on that topic. But I will talk about supermarkets and talk about how I'm not happy with Coles, the way they dudded the dairy farm. I think it's a really low act, but Woolworths decided to dud the elderly with having this supposedly magnanimous gesture of giving them an hour in the morning, very early in the morning I might add, about 7 o'clock, for 1 hour to do their shopping. And then they decide not to actually stack the shelves. So they're basically getting all these poor old elderly people who it's an imposition to get out of their house in the first place, especially at an ungodly hour, and then queue up. And then they find that the shelves are empty, especially things like the toilet paper and the cleaning prices, what most people are in demand for. So, but apparently it's not just that. There were other people on radio yesterday saying there was no meat or fresh vegetables. It depended on the store, admittedly, because, you know, Woolworths is right throughout the country. But people were pretty disgusted, and rightly so, I think. So it was a PR disaster. It was supposed to be, you know, a PR coup for them, saying, oh, we're going to look after the elderly, give them special treatment. They did the opposite. They made it harder for people who are older, because then they had to basically, oh God, it's bloody wet here. It didn't rain that much. Look, this is this new thing. It should actually, I should be able to walk across this now, actually. This is the new piece of steel they put in, so you can, yeah, that's fine. I was a bit worried I couldn't see where there's water on it. Anyway, yeah, but so this supposed PR coup has turned into a PR disaster, because they just put elderly out. It's like a cruel joke on them. They get them to come to the supermarket in anticipation they can buy these rare items, and there's nothing on the shelves. I mean, I think it stinks. I'm so sick of corporate spin these days. I'm fed up to the back teeth with it. And you wonder, who are the people who run these companies? What do they have in their head? I know what I'd say. It starts with an S and ends with a T. 4 brains. That's what's happening there, I think. They just don't have any common sense. They just think, oh, we've got a PR opportunity. We can really clean up here and look like good guys. Well, Woolworths, you've totally stuffed it. You've done exactly the opposite. And I wish there was more choice in supermarkets in Australia than there is, because unfortunately it's a duopoly in effect. There's IGA, but they're not that much as far as competition's concerned. And we don't even have Aldi up here, so we don't have that alternative. So, yeah, not great. Mind you, just getting back to the share market, which took another pounding yesterday, and I picked up more Worley shares, but of course they dropped even lower. They went another $1 lower than what I got them at, and I thought I got a good price. I got them at 6.40, and now they're down to 5.5. It's a ridiculously low amount, because they're a big company, highly capitalised company. I think they will bounce back, but it's a risk. All this stuff I'm doing is very risky, and I've got egg on my face with my portfolio. I'm about 85,000 down, so don't look at me for investment advice. You go your own way and you do your own sums, because I'm just outlining what has happened with me, and it's not. I'm not going to give you the gilded lily story. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm down big time on Telstra. I bought too expensive there. I bought too expensive with ANZ. I got rid of most of my ANZs, but I've still got 2 that are way too expensive and are way down now. The CommBank shares are in a reasonable price, so that's good. But overall, I've spent way too much on stocks, and you've got to be so careful. My advice to anybody investing in the stock market is to get to know the stocks, and I mean that could take a month. Could take you years. You just got to keep studying them. You don't have to even buy and sell, but you need to watch them and get a feel for them, and it really helps, because I've bought Worley in the past, and I just personally think that they were doing pretty well prior to this latest problem with the global economy. But they'll come back, I think. And they get oversold. They oversold them years ago. They sold them down to $3 a share, and I was spewing they didn't have enough cash then to buy them, because it was just ridiculously low. And then about a year later, they're up to about $12 or something ridiculous. It just they're very volatile. There's some volatile stocks. The other stock that's been quite volatile is the Reject Shop, which did have a bad run. But they've actually done well out of the latest crisis, because people have been going in buying cleaning products like there's no tomorrow, and their actual sales have been quite heavily boosted over the last few months. So you know, like I say, it's an ill wind, so you got to take all those factors into account as well. And other news today is about SpaceX, and I'm a big rap for Elon Musk. I think he's doing amazing things with SpaceX and Tesla, but at the moment he's had a couple of failures with SpaceX. I mean, when I say failure, it's a bit rough because the mission wasn't a failure. They got the communication satellites into orbit for their Starlink network. That was successfully done last night, but they weren't able to recover the booster, which they normally do, although they failed on the last two occasions. So I'm wondering if they're hitting a bit of a rough patch, or they're getting a bit slack. I mean, it is pretty tough what they're trying to do, but this one had flown 5 times, and it might be that it was just, you know, fairly fatigued, and that might be the limit of the reusability. They can't, you know, use boosters more than a certain number of times. They're still testing water with it. It's totally new. No one else has ever done this before. So it's incredible. Even if you can use it 5 times, it just reduces the cost per launch so much, because then you're basically just paying for fuel and refurbishment costs. So it's a much better economic model to follow, similar to what aircraft are doing. But aircraft are used, well, I presume hundreds or thousands, I assume thousands of times with refurbishments, obviously, but they fly thousands of times. And that's the idea of his next generation ship, which is called Starship. And he's had a few problems with that too. He's had a couple of those explode, the prototypes. I mean, you know, we're talking about high pressures here, and it's tough stuff, but he's building very rapidly. He's going to have 2 more prototypes ready for testing, and hopefully we'll see them in the sky fairly soon. And if he can pull off the Starship, it will reduce the cost of access to space just an incredible amount, because it's a total usable craft, as opposed to the Falcon 9, which is not totally reusable, but a fair bulk of it is. But how many times can they use it? I mean, they're hoping for more than five uses of each booster. They're wanting to, I think they'd be more looking at double that, maybe more. But that may not be possible. But you know, they're on a steep learning curve, because they're trailblazers, and that's why. I mean, like Tesla almost went under. Musk takes amazing risks, but he seems to have finally got the car company under control. It's going to have problems because everybody's being affected by the coronavirus, so every economy is affected, so every company's going to be affected in a negative fashion there. But I think if you could pick up Tesla shares at if they go back to a couple of $100 US, or maybe a little bit more. The trouble is the Aussie dollar's now so weak, it's very expensive to buy American shares. But I believe that Tesla has a huge future, as does SpaceX. But SpaceX is a private company. You can't buy shares into at the moment. Although you might be able to get shares in Starlink at some stage. I think that'd be another brilliant opportunity for a long-term investor. But as I say, there's always risk involved, so it's just crystal balls gazing. I'm a big rap for Elon Musk, but because he's such a brilliant man, if something happened to Elon Musk, then the value of the company stock would just plummet, because it is really a one-man show. He's got Glenn Shotwell, who's his she does the day-to-day management of the thing and second in command, but she's not the visionary that Elon Musk is. He is an amazing, unique character. And Bezos is actually making some progress too. Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame is also making some progress with the New Glenn rocket, which is a big rocket, reusable rocket, and they're actually finally manufacturing it down at Florida near the Kennedy Space Center. So there's a lot happening, a lot of very exciting things happening. Just hope I'm around to see it all. It's a great time to be alive, a very exciting time if you're into this stuff. So there you go. It wasn't a toilet paper dominated walk and talk, thank God. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.